So we're filming this in December 23, and it's fair to say you've had a busy couple of months, Herb. Is that right? So we've just had the TEDx, which I was at. It was fantastic, and then prior to that, you had an event in Durham.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a yeah. So November's a very busy month for us. The beginning of the month is a newer event called the Bright Ideas Gathering. This was the third edition. It started basically in the tail end of the pandemic in November 2021, and yeah, has had a very happy run of 3 years so far. And we're signed up for another 2 years of it happening again in that same sort of November, late October sort of time frame. And it is it's another what we call thought leadership conference,
Mm.
uh, sort of a blend between, say, a TEDx event and Thinking Digital, where we get a wide array of different speakers covering different topics. Um, and yeah, and a very similar sort of buzz. I think the main difference is that because it's largely supported by Durham County Council, uh, it gives us a lot more freedom actually in terms of the audience. So the speakers
Right.
are very similar, but we can be a lot more aggressive in terms of getting sixth formers, secondary school kids, university students, and what's great about that is that because they're effectively professional students, at that
Mm.
age, that is their job is to
Yeah.
be students, right? That when they get hit with this very different form of, I guess you would call education,
Mm.
it it just lights the brain up,
Yeah.
and at that age, of course, they're very unguarded in their enthusiasm. Once they get turned on, a lot of them do come in sort of like, ooh. But and what's great is that for the normal audience,
Mm.
it's just very exciting to suddenly see like these younger people being just so into
Yeah.
the event, if you will.
Yeah.
So
And probably wishing that they'd had that experience. I certainly would. If I could have gone to a TEDx or the Bright Ideas thing when I was whatever 12, 14, 16, it would have blown my mind and would have just opened so many opportunities up. And it's great that they have that.
yeah, I mean, I'm one of the first winner of the $1 million TED Prize was Sugata Mitra from formerly at Newcastle University,
Really.
and his whole thing is, I mean, he's a great researcher of how people learn,
Mm.
right? And one of the things he likes to talk about is the fact that the current traditional educational system was formed in Victorian times, when in effect it was effectively a large babysitting service
Mm.
to allow the parents to be able to go to work,
Mm.
and with a lot more emphasis on obedience, and conforming to norms, and it's to some extent training kids to get ready for a factory life,
Yeah.
right? Where like
Yeah.
not questioning things, listening to the
Doing as they're
manager,
told. Yeah.
behaving, yeah, showing up on time, all that sort of jazz, right? That was what they cared about, really,
Mm.
and totally not fit for purpose in a world that's demanding creativity, self
Mm.
motivation, self direction, all basically being a human being that
Mm.
can actually direct their own life and
Mm.
understands, what are my strengths, what am I passionate about,
Mm.
what are my weaknesses,
Mm.
and to just be really honest about it versus trying to pretend, try to mold yourself into whatever mold you think is appropriate
Yeah.
to get a job or whatever it
Yeah.
might be.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so it's not a surprise that, without naming names, I mean, my daughter just graduated from supposedly one of the best, schools as per Ofsted ratings and things like that, a grammar school. And, I'm not saying it was bad. She was certainly very safe,
Mm.
and they certainly were a well-meaning group of people.
Mm.
But, for someone that is, for people who are naturally oriented towards regimentation,
Mm.
towards, sort of very, how should I say, very just self-disciplined, and very happy to sort of play along with the rules, or very sport. The sort of the traditional things that one gets ahead in school
Yeah.
with. But anyone that might be described as creative or nerdy, still very much square peg in a round hole type
Yeah. An
situation.
outsider, and yeah.
And I think that was true for her. And who knows? I mean, there's a lot of hope that AI is finally going to kind of break the stranglehold on traditional education
Mm.
with these alternative methods of delivery. But we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of directions that AI could
Yeah,
take
I
us
mean,
on.
yeah,
Who knows? Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the great thing about these kinds of formats is that, I mean, so what I tell people now is that, I mean, for me, I think what it's about is the format and the conferences we do, and the work that we do with the speakers in turn really helping them shape their talks into being much more about storytelling
Yeah.
versus a presentation of facts,
Yeah.
right? We also help them with regard to building a rapport with your audience, right? I mean, a lot of people just expect, because they're professor of this or CEO of that they're just going to have people just be blown away by their amazingness and just be ready to absorb their wisdom and just walk away transformed. But of course, as you know, it's a hell of a lot harder than that. And yeah, but I think, for me, I think what it is, I mean, the natural, there's things like, this humans have a bias towards a sensitivity towards risk and things going wrong. And as such, one's life is naturally full of thinking about problems. What are the stressors or anxieties or things that could go wrong, or worries about your business partner or your romantic partner, and thinking, oh, what are they really thinking? And all this whole massive collection of, or insecurities about not spending enough time with your kids or whatever it might be, right? And that's entirely appropriate, and a lot of success happens because you do pay attention to those details. You do make sure that risks that could be out there aren't being realized or aren't potentially going to spring up on you. But a life spent entirely focused on problems all the time, which is easy to do, right? Is just not worth living, frankly, right? And particularly if you are creative or innovative or whatever, you have to have some time where you're actually thinking about possibilities and potential, right? So how could we do things better, differently, or redoing things so they actually fit the values that you have about life, right? So do you want to be working 80 hours a week? Maybe, maybe not, do you really, so, and I think, I think the format helps that, where it help shift your brain into this different mindset. And I think for me, I mean, I'm sure you'll come across the phrase a learning mindset or a growth mindset, which is a lovely sounding thing, right? Right at the face of it. I think anyone wants to think, oh yeah, I want to be in a growth mindset, or I have a growth mindset, right? And if you've read the research and things like that, you'll know that the evidence seems to indicate that people in this mindset, these are the entrepreneurs, the innovators, people willing to take risks, and so on and so forth.